is Daramouthe, and I'm here with the awesome Samuel or Sam Cook, whichever whichever you want to do it. Uh, he is a newbie creator on Rumble as well, but I just from a Rumble community thing off. I think it was the Twitter X one, the Rumble community thing, and you had your it was either a question or something or other. Can't remember what it was, but it led to a whole discussion from there about getting some issues resolved. And I think you were at the roundtable yesterday, weren't you? Or at least you were watching. Sorry, you weren't. I was at the roundtable, but they couldn't see me, camera issues. But you were watching. So how'd you feel about that yesterday, the roundtable?
It was interesting. To be completely honest, uh, some of the creators are actually. I mean, I've never met them actually
Right.
up until this point. Um, and to be honest with you,
Mm.
it does surprise me that people are very in. I don't know how do I put it. Like they really have a care for Rumble.
Yeah.
They're not just here just to get the bag and then run like other people.
Yeah.
You can clearly see that
Mhm.
because most people wouldn't talk about the features.
Yep.
Um, just give an example, Lumpy. I mean, he definitely looks like he's been a Rumble a long time. He
Mm.
knows a couple of the issues, and he's working with the team to, um, get
Yeah.
stuff sorted, which is really good.
Yeah.
Um,
He's talked to. I believe he's been at the Rumble Studios in Florida, so he's been there, if you know what I mean. So.
yeah, I saw him. I saw a picture with him and Chris. I mean, Chris is a legend. Every
Mm.
interview I watch with him, I mean, it's just intriguing. It's just like, oh my god, Chris,
Yeah.
you're doing such a good job with all the
Mm.
all the political back stuff.
Mm.
It's actually it is crazy.
Yeah.
And I've met so many people on Rumble right now. I
Mm.
like that. I would call them friends for life, 100%.
Nice.
Um, yeah, they're just lovely people. I haven't met everyone yet. Like, there's some
Yeah.
people I don't think I know I exist, but
Yeah.
I mean, there's like loads of other streamers and for example, Gamer Grill.
Yeah. Gamer Girl.
I thought it
Yeah.
was Gamer Girl at
Yeah.
first,
Me too.
but it's Gamer Grill, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, fair enough. Who else? Silver Fox. Have I spoke to? I don't know. I spoke to one of them. I think it's Pudge. I don't really know
Uncle
names.
Pudge. Yeah. Uncle
Yeah,
Pudge. Yeah.
I'm terrible with names, so um, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You'll know Silver Fox by the anger he exudes. He's the
yeah, he did. Yeah, he was in the call. There was one
yeah.
person that was particularly triggering him, I would say.
Yeah. There was. I
But
couldn't. Yeah. Again, I couldn't appear because my camera wasn't working. No matter how many times I went in and out, it wouldn't work. So that was an interesting faction. But whatever. I was able to be on. At least my voice was heard. So I was the only person that couldn't be seen per se.
yeah,
So.
there's a lot of people. I think I'd be honest with you. I think people would have really liked to see you in the call. Um,
Mm.
there were some people in the call. I mean, that didn't say anything. I mean, I don't know if that was just me.
No, I think they all said. I think Gamer Girl was the only one who Gamer. Sorry, Gamer Girl. Gamer Girl didn't say anything, but I think for her, she kind of was busy with her kids and stuff. So,
Yeah, I saw that.
that's yeah, that's kind of hard. But other than that, I think everyone else had a say or two, even if it was small. It was just for me, it was a good thing. And then you had, of course, Chris, and then um,
That's
Rick,
awesome.
and
That's another major thing. Chris and
yeah,
Rick coming in the chat. I mean, you don't see that anywhere else. I mean, that's just proof, living proof. So
yeah, yep. And they certainly answer some questions and reveal of like there's going to be a creator 2.0 uh, panel, and there's going to be a lot of updates that people are wanting to come in. I know I know I brought some things up, but I don't I know one of the questions I was going to have was answered about the DMC stuff, but creator payout was something that I don't know if they'll answer or not, because that is a for me as someone who or just from my perspective, sorry, not for me, but from my perspective of others being on here, especially for you, right? Because rants and all that stuff. There's a certain limit you have to hit in order to be able to cash out or get out, and then you but I've talked to many other I've talked to a few content creators who have had issues with getting their end of things after hitting a requirement. And so for me hearing that, I consider that a red flag because, um, you know, as a company who, you know, having people come in, use the platform, they take a cut of rants and stuff and all that. Um, when a content creator is having trouble getting their money, or they go through proper channels to get it and they're still not getting any sort of confirmation of stuff, that's where it's a bit of a red flag. I don't know what the workaround will be, but hopefully last night that was sort of like, we need to work on it sort of thing, but I didn't get an answer for that, so mine
Yeah,
not yet.
yeah. There's a lot of things they need to improve on, but I mean, like you said, it's a new company. I actually am an investor in it. I actually have shares in the company quite a lot, actually.
Mm.
Obviously, my price is a bit over what I paid for it at the time, but I think long term, I think I paid a reasonable price. I mean, obviously, I can average it down. Um, I don't know why for starters, I don't know why there's a limit in the first place. I mean, that kind of for me is kind of a bit like, oh,
Oh,
especially
it's a
especially
sorry,
someone.
go ahead.
Yeah, like for example, I think you're on about that it's £50 that you have to
It's
take,
50,
or $50.
50, it's 50 USD. I'm not sure what it is in pounds. Hold on,
Yeah.
I can do a quick look up. uh
Yeah, I don't see why there's a cap on it, because I could definitely see. I'll be honest with you. I don't see a lot of people get donations in stream, um and
okay,
doing that, yeah.
so let me share the screen so that way people can see. And then, sorry, you'll be going, it's presentation, so you'll be going down. But
That's fine.
so here's what, so 50 US dollars equals 39.44 pounds. So
Yeah,
however much that means to you.
yeah. Yeah. It's not much difference, to be honest. It's like it's fractional.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, it's very interesting. I don't know, for starters, I don't know why it's a requirement. I think that's already at least like be like a tenner. I mean, if you're a new creator, you ain't going to be getting thousands of views anyway straight away.
Yeah.
And the ad revenue is actually really good, considering I haven't got many viewers. It's
Mm,
actually pretty good.
mm.
Um, yeah, I think it should be lowered, or at least like just take out when you want it. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. There's obviously some reason behind that, and I can see
Yeah.
probably why. But it would be interesting, because I think there's other platforms. I'm not going to name them, but that you can get it, pretty instantly. And only they accept PayPal, and I think a check.
Check.
I think, which is
Yes. PayPal.
actually which check for me. I mean, I've never used a check, so it's
Yeah.
definitely something different.
Yeah, so those will be things hopefully they'll look into the future, because obviously it's everyone wants everything to be, from my point of view, YouTube has been the big platform for many years, since probably not since 2005, but its beginning was 2005, and then Google bought it in like 2006, 2007. So you have this period of time where YouTube's growing, it's getting big, it's growing with the technology, right? Like 2005, I don't know what, I think HD, like 720 HD was a thing, and that's how high it was until now we have like 4K, 8K, whatever the resolution is.
Yeah,
Um, but then you have Rumble, which started in 2013, but they really didn't get more updated with their stuff until like maybe 4 to 5 years ago, I would think. So you have this progress from 8 or 7 years, and then 8 or 7 years after that. So probably have 15 to 16 years of YouTube being the ground layer, right? And so Rumble's trying to catch up to that sort of thing where they're not the same. They're their own thing, but there are some similar pieces like raid stuff. The raids are going to be a thing on here. The so you can at somebody and the username in chat on web only, but it'll go to the apps later down the line. So there's a lot of things that I think people want similar to YouTube, but the thing of it is tech aspect, the time aspect, because coding is another story in itself, and I can't tell you how long that would take, so I don't know. But
I am actually a coder myself. Yeah, some of the features are simple, very simple, that could be implemented really quickly, but whether they're important or not would be a different matter.
yeah,
The only thing I do have to say, which I'm kind of a bit disappointed with, being 100%, is the app version. So Rick seems to be a really on the top developer.
Mm.
Um, I currently at the moment can't use the iOS app for Rumble. I don't know what's happened, but I've updated it and it's just not playing anything. Like I'm having to use the web
Which
version.
which side, iOS or Android?
iOS. I
Mm.
can't even I'm not like just an example. Hi Divinity. Um,
Hey,
like
Divinity.
I'm literally just trying to like load a video, and this is your stream, but
Yeah.
it just won't play. It literally is just frozen. I don't know if you can even see that because the camera's so terrible.
Yeah. No, I
Um,
see it.
but it just will not play at all, and it's just like, oh my god. So I've had to completely like get rid of the Rumble app for the moment, just until it's fixed, or even downgrade it. Um, it's really interesting, like because Chris is he's really smart. Like he's doing something different to what other platforms are doing, like monetary
Right.
value, which is the Rumble Cloud, and that is, I mean, that's going to be amazing. It just needs to be optimized. The thing is, they've got so many good ideas, and there's so much more they can do. But it's just timing, you say, and money. Nothing costs for free these days. So
Yeah. Very
yeah,
frustrating. Yeah, no, I understand that, Divinity. It's but they know it, that the roundtable we had on Rumble last night. They came in and we
yeah.
talked about some certain things, and they definitely know some stuff is up because we had to start another stream in order to get the things going because it was so choppy stuff. So yeah, Rumble has had issues with
But saying that, I mean, I can't even use the YouTube app at the moment. I don't know. I put a picture on X. I can't use it. There's so many bugs with it now.
yeah.
I
So
don't know if you've had the same problem, but I can't. I actually can use the Rumble app more than YouTube.
I don't use the YouTube app, so I just use web
Okay.
browser. So
Yeah.
I've never used their stuff. But yeah, it's all about, from my perspective, I don't know how to code. I don't know everything behind the scenes. Agreed. Once the money shows up, the sensors will do. Uh, agreed, 100.
So
Once.
yeah. So I'm going to answer that. So Divinity, I can understand your point of view. So, um, but it's not how you think it's going to work. It's not like other platforms. So you see Rumble as soon as the money shows up that there's going to be censorship on certain parts. So let's say for example, I know you're Donald Trump and you don't want Biden to hear anything, and they're going to pay you to not
Mm,
say anything. It doesn't work like that. For starters, Chris is the biggest shareholder in the company, and I think he has a certain share type. I think it's Class A or Class B, and if you
mm,
have that certain class, he is the decision unless he sells them, which is unlikely. I don't see why he would, because he wouldn't
yeah,
spend years building up to sell it.
yeah.
I mean, maybe eventually, but to someone that would follow his steps. Um, yeah. So Rumble makes money at the moment. They're not making money; they're actually losing money because of all the content they're having to buy, like Power Slap
Yeah.
and other stuff. But Rumble's going to make their money in the cloud area, and I'll tell you why.
Mm.
Amazon's most revenue comes from AWS. Like that's
Oh.
their biggest. Yeah. If you didn't know that, Amazon with the shopping side isn't that much profitable. It is profitable, but it's not. That's not where the money comes from. It's
Hmm.
all to do with AWS.
Hmm.
Because they allow it to be cheap. But I don't understand the AWS cloud side yet.
Right.
But I can tell you that Rumble Cloud, I mean, it's the most profitable side of the business. I don't know the price differences. I don't understand that. But
Mm.
once this happens, because it's releasing next week, I think it's next week,
Yeah, I think so.
things will
Either in a
change.
few weeks. In a few weeks, yeah. So so yeah, I mean, because Twitch and Kick, you both use AWS, and Parler
Yeah,
did too until they got booted off. So,
yeah,
but yeah, it is interesting. But I think one thing people have to consider is there's YouTube has had time. YouTube has Google infrastructure, Google money, basically, and they are, yeah, and they just had that they've had that time like 15 to 16 years where Rumble is sort of this
yeah,
it's sort of had to catch up to it in sort of short amount of time. Yes, it's still buggy when a lot of people get on. It seems like their servers may not be able to keep up with the amount of people on while like peak hours, right? You know how there's like peak hours for power and stuff. During the summer there's peak hours of when you all this. So there might be peak times in their server stuff, whatever, where they aren't able to keep up, and it keeps jittering and freezing all that stuff during the live section. Replay is okay, but like she said, the yeah, for Tendo. Yeah, but YouTube has
Yeah.
had eight to 7 years being around altogether, and then add the 8 to 7 years of upgrading all that stuff. So they've had about 15 to 16 years. Rumble's had about, yeah, about 10 to 11 years, but they've just been updating their stuff, I think 4 to 5 years
So,
ago.
so yeah, so to answer to Divinity's question, and anyone who's watching,
Yeah.
I'm an investor. The reason why Rumble has only really started making adjustments is because they've recently IPO'd on the stock market. Now, what
Yeah.
happens is they get a big influx of cash, and I think it was 500 million, which for a business, to spend on advertising, improving their service and hiring new people, that's a big influx of cash.
Mm,
And doing that, they didn't have the money back then. So
mm,
but now there's even more censorship, so it's even more, inclined to change.
mm.
Yes, it has been around for 10 years, but I think Rumble only had like 20 employees. So imagine one update, that would take weeks. And
Yeah.
you got to think, Rick's only been there 1 year, and I'd say there's been more improvements on the app. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's other coders there, they're doing the hard work.
Mm,
But I definitely say Rick for Rumble has been the best investment it could have made. And I stand by every word. He always keeps the community up to date. He probably doesn't even get paid for that. I mean, maybe
mm.
he does in share equity, but he's doing a hell of a good job. I mean, I don't hear anything from any other company about the updates. CuckTube, I call it CuckTube. I don't hear anything from them. It's just you're part of the beta. You get early access. But
Yeah.
yeah, there hasn't been an activist investor though. Yeah, so the difference. I mean, obviously, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off or anything.
No, you're fine.
More.
You're
I'm just really intrigued by the questions that have been answered. Actually, they haven't been. So at the end of the day, I understand there's two types. There's two types of people. There's one that really want the grind and they want the profit. There's much profit as they can get out of the company, and then that's it. They don't care. I mean, I understand that because I'm an investor. But
me too.
the difference between me and other people is I genuinely care about people. Like I work for companies now that literally, no, sorry, I have worked for companies
Mm,
that didn't give a crap about me, and you
mm.
can clearly see there's such a community in Rumble. I mean, Mario, I don't really know these people very well, but I can just tell by the people they are, maybe online, but Mario and Rick, you can definitely tell they care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's, yeah, like you said, you can see it in the way they respond. Yeah, there's some things like with the there's some things that may seem like they're stuck on or they don't understand, but again, the roundtable was sort of like, because one of the things that was a bother me, a bit of a not sure about was the DMCA stuff, right? I've talked to
Yeah.
a person who has stuff on YouTube and used to have a channel on Rumble until they got taken away. Well, his prediction is
Was
that
that B rolls or something?
yes,
Yeah,
that was
I
B-roll.
saw a tweet. I didn't read it all, but yeah, if you can
Yeah,
explain it.
they use public domain videos, and I think the story was is that that they had he said they had 4 manual DMCs against them. I'm not sure what the whole story is. I don't know the background. But when you hear something like that, you aren't sure. But plus, there was also another YouTuber named That Umbrella Guy. He had talked about getting a DMCA on Rumble as well, and that just kind of stopped him from doing altogether. I mean, his stuff is still up, but he is not putting stuff over there, and that's fine. But for me as a content creator, my thing is that no one platform should own your content, right? That's why I multi-stream to both Rumble and YouTube is because no no one platform should YouTube. I know there's a lot of YouTubers on there, been there for years, and that's the only platform they go to. They may do like audio stuff to somewhere else, but the thing of it is that that is their only place, right? And call monetization, right, and all that stuff being seen. The issue is though that when something happens like demonetization or they get banned, where do they think they go? Well, they go to Twitter X and they
But
say, hey, get you back or whatever. And it's sort of like that seems like at a certain point you're like, well, why aren't you splitting yourself multi-streaming wise? It just for me it just makes sense.
Well, the thing that I'm going to answer now, and if if anyone is watching, DMC isn't issued by Rumble or Twitch or any other platform.
DMCA?
It's issued by a third party company.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's not actually by them because realistically they haven't got the time or the resources to like specifically go.
Mm.
YouTube has algorithms in place, which is given by the third party company, which, how do I put it? They then send you this. They send basically Rumble the strike, and then it comes from Rumble because they have to then deal with it because essentially it's on their website, which
Mm.
is the same as Twitch, the same as anywhere else. It's not.
Mm.
It's not Rumble doing it.
Mm.
It's not Twitch. So for the Umbrella guy to completely dismiss Rumble over one like DMCA, I'm sure if he contacted the team, they would have been like helping him out, explaining like what you could do.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of a shame that he's completely disregarded the platform because it's nothing to do with him. And how else do I put this? So it's kind of the terms of service. That is,
Yeah.
but that's the same as anywhere. I mean, that's just the law. Rumble's trying to protect themselves from lawsuits, which, if you want Rumble to provide as a platform, you have to follow some rules.
Yeah.
But it's not like massive. It's not massive like rules because it's common sense. I mean, if I made a movie, I wouldn't want someone copying it and then just completely posting it out there for everyone to see.
Yeah.
That is just the law. Yeah, Rumble has like really let people be themselves, and in the long run, like when you see a YouTuber now, I mean, I see some YouTube videos, and I'm like, this is so fake. Like this isn't the person. Like before, they were so different, and then all these law like the policies came in, and they're
Mm.
such a different person. I don't like the content now. It's not as easy as clicking a few buttons on. Sorry, I don't know what's happened to the chat. It's not as easy as clicking buttons. Yeah, it's different. I'm not going to lie to you. It is hard. The one thing I have to say, which is I was actually amazed by. I don't know if you guys follow Sneeko. I was like 5 o'clock. I got a notification,
Right.
and he was streaming The Wolf of Wall Street, the full movie. I don't even know. I don't know. I don't know. Like he was streaming, and I was thinking, okay, he's just showing a clip. No, he was streaming the thing from start to finish, and I was like, what? I was like, are you mad? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what the rules are. Like I
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
but he was streaming the full movie, and I was like, I was just sat there kind of watching it. I can't lie. I was just like, okay, this is Wolf of Wall Street. I gotta watch this.
Yeah. That's
But
great. So since you talked about, can you explain a little bit what a DMCA is? Not to just me, but people who are watching because they might not know like what, because you seem to have some knowledge about that sort of field.
I don't have massive amounts of knowledge. I have some knowledge. I mean, there's some I wouldn't know what to class. I mean, there's some categories I would class as DMC. So it's like music.
Oh,
So it's music. So films. I don't know how the Sneaker's going to get away with the Wolf of Wall Street. I mean, that's crazy. I don't know how that's gonna be like a, oh my god, okay, let's see what happens, because that is like an intriguing thing.
mm,
Basically, like I said, it's a third party company. They kind of give you like algorithms and stuff to search for content because it's pretty easy nowadays to find it. Sometimes it's a bit too aggressive. So, for example, if you're playing a game and there is generally music in the game, like
mm,
I don't think that should be considered. Like, because it's part of the game. Like, you're kind of getting part of the video. I don't get it, but like from them, it's fair enough. Divinity, no, they don't really let them people be themselves. They just can't crack down as YouTube. Wait, sorry, as easily as YouTube does.
oh,
It's atrocious. I'm, in my opinion, of course, understandable. I don't know what's happened with my thing, but it's like I can't. Okay, you're changing it. Okay, anytime
yeah,
Divinity. Yeah. No, they don't really let people be themselves. Well, they do let them people be themselves. So if you notice the difference between YouTube and Rumble and the way that people can, kind of swear, like
mm.
that YouTube, that wouldn't work. Like you get demonetized, you can't be shown to certain audiences.
Is it one of their rules like like you have to be aware of like 30 seconds before you can say anything bad? Like I thought it was. I can't remember. I just remember some content creators talking like you couldn't say any bad word within like the 30 seconds or 8 minutes or something like that. I can't remember.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know everything.
Yeah.
I sadly don't know on this aspect. I'll be
Mm,
honest with you. I kind of see Rumble more as a streaming platform because I'm a streamer.
mm.
Um, I can't see it as a video because not well. I don't see people posting many videos specifically for the video content. But that's just me. I might see
Right.
the odd one.
Yeah. Well, the thing for me, it was this is that there's still content creators who post videos on the
Yeah,
platform, right? They either to save their content whenever. But for me, my thing is, well, if they just want to make it a streaming platform, then they should just stop any video putting, no short. They shouldn't talk about shorts, clips, any of that would just be gone because there's no point, right? If you just want it to be a live stream, and that's for me is like I'd rather have it to be a semi-equal thing, like I think they talked about the AI um, thing coming out, that will the personalization, whatever. Um,
yeah.
hopefully that will help with videos, whatever. But my thing is like if you just want to make it a true live stream platform like Twitch or Kick, then don't let anyone post any videos at any point. No shorts, no clips, no nothing. Because if you allow it, then you keep giving people this false sense that there will be videos later on, or they that videos posting videos on there, not VODs, but like video recorded videos on there is sort of like that they'll get attention, whatever. And that's for me, that's sort of not like the right way to go. But for me, I just hope they have that personalization will help bring some kind of balance, at least to some degree.
Yeah.
But my
So
thought.
the thing is, streaming overall costs more than video. So like, if you look into Rumble's earnings, you'll see that um, putting videos on a like a because basically what essentially happens
Mm,
is when you upload a video, you
mm.
store it and then
Yeah,
it's literally stored.
yeah,
Whereas live streaming is a slight bit different
yeah, yeah.
because you have to keep the uptake of the servers, and that's actually more money.
Mm,
Um, I, I'll be honest, I like the option
mm.
to have the videos on there. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
The difficult part is let's say for example it's Sneeko. Like I'm giving examples because he's a big player. I don't you know it's easy for him because has an audience.
Mm,
He's brought other audience from other platforms onto one. Whereas anyone kind of that starts on Rumble has to build their own audience up, and there's
yeah,
nothing
yeah.
wrong with that.
Mm,
There's loads of people on that use the app. It's just finding the content that they want to see
yeah.
and going from there really. Um, but it's completely, like I say, I'm a streamer, so I'm going to say that anyway. That's not anything, I'm not going to specifically say otherwise because it's for me that wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
Um,
You're specifically a streamer in the sense of what you're doing, but there are you for the part of it is that you have Rumble who is having these contracts with other creators, right? They have contract with Quartering, Sneeko, and so these content creators have made streams and recorded videos. So if you're getting contracts to these people who are doing both, then you would think that having a platform that allowed both would be beneficial. And I know you said live streams cost more, right? Well, if you did the video and you had that personalization in there where that was sort of the recommending whatever, then you probably could make some more of a you probably make a little more profit off of what you would with live streaming because of how much it costs. I think there was a video on Twitter or whatever, someone going through like Twitch and showing like the different amounts of like live stream time periods or resolutions, like 1080 or whatever, because that plays into it too. I believe is the resolutions of a video.
yeah, I mean, like I say, this is Rumble. It's the beginning. There's
Yeah.
so much they can do. I mean, I would use Rumble Gmail. I would use it. I would use Rumble search engine. As
Mm,
long as it's somewhat optimized, I'd happily use it. I'd happily. I think like looking from this from a business point of view. I just want to say thank you, Divinity, for the questions. By the way, I don't know if you're still here, but thank you so much. I actually really enjoyed that.
mm.
What I'm trying to say is, let's how do I put it? So the thing is, Rumble is better to acquire companies than build their own.
Yeah, that's
Um,
what the Rumble Studios is. That's Colin. They bought Colin to.
yeah, so because it saves them building it. I mean, Rumble, it's been around for 10 years. It's easier to, and same as locals. I'm not sure if that's the same company as
It's been
uh,
bought by Rumble, so
locals. Is the locals the same company or is that a different one?
it's different, but it was bought by Rumble, so it is now a part
Yeah.
of Rumble.
Yeah, so for example, Rumble would realistically, let's say they want to move to the next thing. I would say let's get the cloud out of the way, let's get the streaming service out of the way. They want to be a big consumer, right? They have to start building stuff like search engines. You
Mm.
know, I would love a search engine that would show me both sides because realistically, there's a sun and there's a sun and there's a nighttime. There's always
Yeah,
two outcomes. There's
yeah,
never one. There's never one
yeah.
definitive answer.
Mm.
There should be, like a little list with both sides, and you get to choose.
Mm.
And there's the more time, you spend on the search engine, it personalizes itself to you. Let's say you are a Donald Trump fan. Let's just say, for example, you are. It's going to, show you Donald Trump stuff. You don't care about Biden anyway, so I mean, who cares if you see it?
Mm.
But the same way as if you're a Biden fan, I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
it's yeah, it's understandable. Your politics over there across the pond is a little different than ours. So
yeah. I'm just
yeah,
giving. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll be honest with you. I'll be completely straight with you now, and
yeah,
this is
yeah,
my genuine opinion.
yeah,
Politics is a waste of time, regardless.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think. I think if it is a complete and utter illusion.
Mm.
I tell you what. When I was younger, I heard this tale, and it stuck with me my whole life.
Mm.
And it goes back to the plantation farms when
Mm.
people used to be slaves.
Yeah.
Um, and essentially, let's look at this as you're a plantation owner, right?
Mm.
You have to give people the choice. You have to make people believe that you have the choice of freedom.
Mm.
I'll give you an example. So okay. So I'll give you an example. This is the one that I think would be easy to understand.
Right.
So you hire a guy, right? And he
Mm.
says to you, okay, um, so he wants to make your workers feel like they're three. He basically will say, look, you can go to any other plantation farm. They're going to treat you maybe worse. We give you food, we give you housing, you know,
Mm.
but you know what you've got. If you go somewhere else, you're uncertain of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
They create that fear,
Yeah. Yeah.
and with that, they say, well, okay, well, we're going to give you a choice because realistically, in America, there's only two choices: the Republican, and I don't really understand American politics
Yeah. Yeah.
very well, but in America, there's only the Dom. I don't know, Republican something else. I think.
And Republican and Democrat. There's many other parties, but they're not
But
as
they're the main. But
like.
they're the main ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're the main ones. You don't
Mm.
ever see really any others winning realistically.
Mm.
But it's just because they have the money behind them. They've been around for years.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to: money.
Yeah.
And they give you that choice of pretending that one. The thing is, realistically, does your life realistically change under different? Okay, let's say for example, at the minute the prices of stuff is at an all-time high. For example, gas. I don't know what it's like in America. You see, so it's hard to give you an
Yeah. Yeah.
example.
Yeah.
I'm just giving out because I know some things based on like trading stocks and stuff.
Right.
Um, if that increases under the Biden regime, let's say, for example, there's something else that is decreasing. There has to be kind of like a balance,
Mm.
So that might increase, but let's say your groceries decrease, inflation decreases, right? But let's say under Donald Trump, I'm not saying it because I don't really know. It's different, every time.
Right.
With Donald Trump, the food prices might be cheaper, but the gas might be higher.
Mm.
It doesn't really change your lifestyle. Okay, with every party, it does get harder because
Mm.
let's say for example, 10 years ago, you could buy a house with on your own
Yeah.
as a male. You can't do that now with two people. But that's just the way the world's going, isn't it?
Yeah. It's me personally, I just think they're all kind of all political identities are BS because they don't really do much other than they're just a tag for the tribe. That's really what they are.
Yeah,
And you know what? You can call yourself whatever you want underneath the sun, but at the end of the day, you're still going to end up the same way. It's going to be 6 feet under or
yeah,
dust in the wind. So
yeah,
so political parties and or political identities in their own right are just useless. Yeah,
yeah,
I know that's like yeah, it's this or that or whatever, but they're really useless. We you've had kings and queens. We've had presidents basically, and those things are believed to be determined by the rules set by whoever started the rules, right? We have the
Yeah.
Declaration of Independence, and you have your Magna Carta, and so you have these things that are the rule books, right? And then of course, through the years down the line, the legislative parts of it, right? They get to either decide the rules, make the rules, whatever. That's just a gimmick. The thing of it
Yes.
is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry.
So, but the thing of it is after a while, you tend to forget the part of you're electing people into power by a supposed power you're giving them, right? Like this is how we view to civilization to work, even though thousands of years it's been king or queens, it's been this, it's been that. There's just no after a while, there's no difference. The point of the matter is though, what you what is it you're giving, and what is it you think you're getting out of it is the real question. Because at the end of the day, I had this there's another gentleman I've been on, is his name is Jack Tarlad, and he's obviously from the UK as well. He We had a discussion of valuation, and how valuation is more of a belief. So like in essence, our money, right? Our money is either a paper or whatever. I think yours is sort of paper as well. I don't know.
Yeah. So
I don't.
ours, it's like a plastic. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's, but you see the physicality of it. They tell you this has money on it and all this stuff, but that's more of belief that it has value. You're told it has value, and you believe it has value because you're told so, or because you see everyone agrees upon the value. But if you were to take that belief away, right? Like if you were to, if something were to happen in the government or whatever, and you took that belief away, what value does it hold? Right? It's a value everyone agrees upon, yes, but once you have enough people believing it does not have value, then this thing that once had value no longer has it. It's like with gold, right? We gold has its uses, don't get me wrong, but gold in its own right is given this belief of valuation because we believe it has value and others agree it has value. It now has value, but it's more of a belief. Right. That's how our sort of our discussion went. But it
uh,
once you look into it, it's kind of like, well, if that's the case, then anything we give value to. I mean, there's of course like sentimental value, right? But that changes once you pass. If you have something that has sentimental value and you pass and your child has it or someone else, that value is not a one-to-one. It is now changed. Oh, Davidia wants to know your channel name.
SammyC, so SammyC. That's my Rumble. I do have a YouTube, but I mean, I don't really post there anymore. I mean, I might post a clip, but
Yeah,
like I said, Rumble is like the number one now, focusing purely on the platform.
yeah.
Yeah, like I completely agree with what Divinity said. It's an illusion of choice.
Mhm.
Regarding to your gold standard, the biggest thing which I'm surprised which America did was when
Mhm.
they removed the gold standard from the value of the dollar.
Yeah, that's what Jack Tarlet had talked about as well. But
Yeah,
my whole encompassing factor was is that these items we give, because it's like diamonds, right? Diamonds used to be dug up from the ground, or the beers or whatever, but now you can make diamonds in a lab, or they can be made in a lab. So now you've changed the valuation of a diamond. Now, of course, it has its uses like blade, drill bits or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's just a belief that it has value. When you take that belief away, what value does it have other than a use?
talking about diamonds specifically, I don't know if you know this, Dartmouth. Sorry, I don't have Daramouthe. Sorry, I'm not familiar.
Daramouthe.
Yeah, Daramouthe. Sorry.
Daramouthe.
Basically, I don't know if you know, but there's actually a family behind diamonds, and there's actually so many diamonds in the world that they have it in a vault, and they've made it scarce on purpose.
Yeah, I think it's like De Beers is like the bigger one, right? Or well known, De Beers, Debe.
Yeah, but they have. Just imagine like having a like this. But the thing is, it's the scarcity of it. It's like
Yeah.
um, the value. I mean, the value is completely abnormal. For example, based on what I've seen, is a Rolex watch.
Mhm.
Um, I'm not sure how it works in America, but here you have to build a reputation with the company. They won't just sell it to you. You might have the money.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they won't sell it to you. They have 10 in the back. They'll just say, "Oh no, it's not here." And I know someone that they bought 5 Rolex watches. I mean, you're talking, a lot of money.
Yeah.
And he went in one day and was like, "Oh, I really like this watch," thinking, "Oh, they definitely got it in the back. Just give it to me." And they're like, "Oh, well, we'll call you in a week's time," And
Mhm.
they called him back in a week and was like, "Oh yeah, we got it. It's just been sat out the back." And it's crazy how that works. It's like if you hear about these supercars as well, they won't sell you the top supercar anymore.
Hmm.
I don't know if you know about. I mean, I look into everything. I mean, Porsche GT3S. Let's say that's just a car what someone wants, right?
Right.
They ain't selling it to you anymore. What they're doing is they're either selling you a ridiculous price above what it should cost, which is a
Right.
list price. But if you want to get a regular price, they're like, "Oh, you have to buy a Porsche before. You got to buy this car. See if you like it." And then essentially, what happens is you buy 10 cars, and they're like, "Oh, okay, we'll sell it to you." But the point is, you bought it for way over list price anyway because you wanted
Right.
that car. You know?
Yeah. I used to work at a car dealership, not selling cars, but I know that once that car leaves the lot, it just starts going down in value. It's just like you have it's almost like having a ticking time bomb, but the only thing is that you lose money on it. Um,
Yeah.
oh, she says there's a couple Sammy C's on Rumble, so go ahead and clear that up
Oh,
for
thank
her.
you.
Hey,
Yeah.
the, the
Do you want? Does you just want the link? Have you got the link, or did you want me to send it to
it,
you?
Divinity, if you go on my Rumble video, the link is there. I can't put it on the YouTube yet because the stream doesn't show up through Rumble Studios. The stream for YouTube doesn't show up until it starts here. So I know it's a weird thing, but that's what they have. So, but the link is on my Rumble channel if you want to take the Rumble video here, if you want to take a look. But yeah, it's very, and don't get me wrong, you're quite, it seems you're quite knowledgeable on stuff, especially, and you're doing streaming, so that's an interesting de facto. So the question is why do streaming? What drew you to want to do that anyway? Because that seems to be the focal point right here, is you doing streaming.
Well, I believe it. I believe in God. So,
Okay.
I'm only recently a believer. I wasn't actually a believer before. I'd say the last 4 months, and something changed in me, and I don't know what it was, but the value of money
Mhm.
completely left my life, like completely. Like there was. So, for example, I used to hang around with friends with lots of money. Like I used to hang around. I ain't got money myself, but I used to always hang around with people with money, and I saw how it wasn't making them happy. Like even like big streamers in general. I mean, it makes them okay. The saying is, would you rather be crying in a Lambo or crying in a shitty broken down car? Well, you obviously want to be crying in a Lambo. That's just it's just stupid, isn't it?
Right.
And money does give you some aspects, but it realistically, if you bear life down, it becomes to who you have friends with, who you can really call your loyal. I mean, loyalty is more valuable than anything. That's priceless nowadays. That doesn't happen a lot now.
Mhm.
Um, you know, yeah, no worries, gaming. Money. Some of the things are just, why I became a streamer. Funny enough.
Mhm.
So, like I said, I don't really believe in money that much. I have it, but yeah, it doesn't make
Yeah.
much difference. Um, I want to make a positive impact in the world. You
Mhm.
know, I think that there's no one in my area. So when I watch streamers, it tends to be American streamers. There's never really anyone from the UK.
Mhm.
Now I don't know if that's because I don't really actually understand that. It kind of makes no sense to me. I guess I don't know. I don't even know how to answer that question, to be honest.
Well,
Um,
there's a creator I know, Heels versus Babyface, who does stream gaming. I know there's another one
but
called
are
just
they big? Is what I'm trying to say. Are they big?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
they're pretty. I mean, they're not like million followers or anything, but they are considered big or well known. Disprue is another one who's also English. Um, I know there's another gentleman. He's Scottish. His name is the Drinker. He streams sometimes too. I think he's making a movie right now, so he's not going to be able to do that. But there are quite a few English people. I don't know if they do it in the sense of like, you and your faith, but there are some who do stream that are
Yeah.
English or UK or
Well, I
whatever.
mean, maybe it's just me. Maybe I've never personally really come across it. I mean, I've come across the odd one, but maybe
Mhm.
that's because of how they do it. Because all the big streams in America tend to clip videos. They don't tend to, you see the clips of them doing stuff.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm wrong. This is something I have to find out for myself. Like I
You're
said,
right.
I might be knowledgeable in some aspects, but I'm definitely not knowledgeable in everything, and I'm
Right.
always learning every day.
So, but you streamed because you wanted. It was mostly because of your
Yeah.
faith component is what you wanted to do. Understandable.
Not just the faith component; it's just the fact of making. The thing is, people aren't. I don't know if it's like. I don't know what it's like in America. Like, I feel like America's a complete different culture. Like over here, there's no
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
There's no God over here. Like there's no God. There's no care. You know,
In the UK, really?
there's hardly any God. There's no God. Like there's nothing here. It's just kind of live your life and do what you want.
Oh, that kind of goes in hand with what John Lennon said a long time ago. You know, they were bigger than Jesus, and I guess in a sense, if there is no Jesus over there, then I guess that would be true.
Yeah, there's you. I'll be honest with you. I've not seen anyone my age, maybe once or twice, that believe in God in the UK. There's no one. It's just the older generation, and it's such a shame because you can definitely see. And I'll give you an example. I mean, I don't know how people do it, right? And I've just given an example. Is OnlyFans. I mean, that is the most degenerate thing I've ever seen. I mean,
Right.
the people pay for that stuff. I don't even understand why they pay for it. Like, it's crazy that I mean, I see some of these streamers and I'm like, oh my god,
Oh, you
and
like?
all, and I just read the chats and I'm just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
there's people out there that I don't know, they have so no confidence nowadays. It's really surprising. Like, you know, when I started streaming, right, like I was my first thought was like, oh my god, people are gonna care what I think. And I don't care now. Like, I just do what I do. I get taken a piss out of someone might see it. You know, it's if it happens, it happens. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's just how the game goes.
Yeah. Also, you got something in
Yeah.
from.
I'd love to stream with you. Yeah, yeah, no worries. I use Discord. Yeah, I'm terrible at keeping the Discord active. I think I have like 100 members from like other platforms that I've kind of built up, but they won't come to Rumble, but I'm not gonna. I know that Rumble is the future,
Yeah.
and yeah,
The possibilities are there. It's because of its newness, but it's I that's why I've bought the some of the stock as well because I see the possibilities. It's not perfect, don't get me wrong. It's
yeah,
got to get there, but the possibilities are more than there than say YouTube because right now YouTube is sort of on a downturn. And of course, you have the Google side of it too, right? We all know the whole thing going on with Google right now. So, but you have this sort of downturn with YouTube where it's not a growth, but it is sort of like a stale, stagnant,
yeah.
line. It may go up and down a bit, but
I,
it's
I
not.
have a question for you. Sorry, Dara. But
Go ahead.
is God like? Because I'm seeing the chat right now, and I don't know if like because so Happy Mars just said, "Jesus, that's so sad." Is he on about that?
OnlyFans. It was the OnlyFans.
As in, yeah, but does he mean like? I'm just trying to get the aspect because, like I said, the cultures are so different. Like,
Uh,
is God quite fearing over there? And is God quite fearing? Like,
in
because in the UK it
in
doesn't
the
exist.
in the United States, I would say partly, but not fully, because you also have a lot of different cultures that come here. It's called the melting pot, right? The America's always been called the melting pot. So you have different faiths that kind of clash with each other. You have Muslims, you have Hinduism from India, you have other things
Yeah,
too. You have so there's all different ones, and I sort of think that Christianity itself gets kind of hijacked by people of power, whatever, or even people who say they are
yeah,
preachers or whatnot. So there's a lot of mixed up. I think that at the end of the day, you kind of just have to rely on that relationship between you and God because that's at this point there's too many people speaking and not one of them's very truthful. So
yeah.
it can always be a useful tool to use, but something to live by, not by
Yeah.
much, really.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's just. I think what tends to happen in the UK, right, is people don't really educate themselves. They don't really care. They kind of just live life and they live like how they want.
Hmm.
And uh, there's no God in the UK. I can guarantee. I mean, maybe it's. I mean, I live like somewhere quite, I would say, away from big cities, so it might be quite
Okay.
different in bigger cities.
Hmm.
But from where I live, it doesn't exist. Like, I give you an example. I was one day driving, and I
Hmm.
was doing some forex, like I was trading currencies and gold and stuff.
Right.
And I turned a tenner into £75, which is like a 7,500% return.
Nice.
Sorry, a 750% return. My bad.
Mm.
Oh, sorry, my maths right now is tired because it's like 10 o'clock. So, But what I'm trying to say is, God came to me and was like, you could have £1 million in that. You're so lucky that you have a God in your life. Imagine living a godless life. When I read the Bible isn't exactly exciting. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to say it's a colourful
Right.
book of fun. It's not a science fiction book, but forget God in it. Like it's just to live by the morals, and then God comes into it. If you live by the main morals, God will come into it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I always say to people, because I'm kind of seen as an outcast when it comes to this type of stuff.
A black sheep, if you will.
100%. I'm basically like the wolf in sheep clothing to the normal people,
Right.
essentially, which isn't the case. But like I said,
So
I'm so
is
lucky.
it the so you say you kind of live off from the big cities. When you go into the big cities, you kind of see that pronouncement of there's just nothing, not in the religious sense, but Christ-centeredness, if that makes
Well,
sense.
the thing is, in the big cities, there's more money based, more money focus.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I had a really good friend. I mean, he was a really good friend,
Right.
and he really loves money. Like he really he's just bought a house. He
Oh,
he
nice.
might see this actually one day. I don't know. We kind of fell out. We kind of fell out.
Right.
Um, and I mean, I haven't told him this. I mean, if he hears it straight from this stream,
Oh.
I would say he's more focused on money than life. Like, so for example, he bought a house. Like, he's done
Right.
really, really well for himself. Like, he's bought a house. He's got a really nice sports car. You know, he's done really well. But the thing
Mm-hmm.
is, he's always thinking about the next thing, and there's always a next thing. It's like a black hole. Like, okay, I bought a brand new car, but I want another car now,
Mm.
and it's a real shame. Like, he is a nice person. He's generally a nice person, and I've fallen out with him, and I'm really gutted, and I can feel the pain here. That's saying, "Oh no, you should just make up." But I mean, I feel it now. I'm feeling the pain because
Right.
he's a really close friend that I really did lose. But it is how life works. I mean, whether I moved somewhere or went somewhere different. Yeah, we are losing God in big time. I mean,
Mm.
the thing is, it's not promoted on the news either. I don't know if you
Mm.
guys. This is another thing why Rumble's so amazing, right? There's a lot of content creators on Rumble that are Christians, which does surprise me, and that's
Mm.
another reason why I've used Rumble. And I'm not for all the clickbait and shit. I mean, there's obviously the
Yeah.
odd person, but it really does open your eyes. You just have to look at the world, you know. Yeah, I mean, I could go on rambling ages for it, so there's no point, there's no
No,
point.
no, no. You're fine. That's the whole point. That's the point. I did this right is for my beginning of the stage. Right. I used to. So I started using StreamYard. Right. I used StreamYard to record videos because
Yeah,
I didn't want to show my face to begin with. I'm not showing my whole face, but you get the idea. So I use StreamYard to record videos about just anything like beginning stage stuff, and then just go on from there like movie reviews and all that. You know how it goes. And so I moved on from that and I used OBS. And I used OBS to multi-stream to both YouTube and Rumble. And of course, back during the time, Rumble still had you had to have 5 followers in order to live stream. But you could also pay for a pro package and that would automatically get you into live streaming. So after time, I just kind of I'll just buy a pro package and go from there. And $10 isn't that much. So I did that. I did recorded videos for a while and I uploaded them here. Like I said, the thing here is the algorithm does not showcase them much. So hopefully that will come into view to some degree. But after that, once I started live streaming, I live streamed to both platforms, and I did that through OBS. And OBS isn't perfect in its own right because it has there's Twitch and all that stuff on that list that you can just go down and it'll automatically do its thing. With Rumble, you
Rumble's
said,
not on there.
yeah, you had to input your stuff. Um, So after that, I just kept using it, and I had good or bad uses with it. And then, of course, the story with Rumble Studios coming out, I was like, all right, I'll look at it, I'll give it a try. And so I gave it a try, and I've been using it ever since then because it's just it just streamlines. If you go, it streamlines just click, 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 and you're done, and it just locks those in. Now, of course, it still has issues. It still needs a few updates, but at the end of the day, it still is a lot better than me using because StreamYard you had to pay. you had to pay to do to more than one platform and some other stuff. OBS you don't have to pay for, but you have to use another plugin to stream to multiple platforms, and it's like that's just extra. So with
Yeah.
this, it's just you do the one link up once. There's a little slide lever. You slide that over or whatever. Rumble, I think they said they'll sometime in the future they will allow Rumble to be optional because it's, it's their thing right now. But at a certain point, it will be optional. And again, it's just like a 1, 2, 3 sort of thing, and it streams like the ability like StreamYard does for theirs. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I haven't gone back to those platforms because it's just so easy to use. And I'm not like those people who's like layouts and all this other stuff of 1,000 different other things. Like, oh man, I wish I could use this customizable thing on
Yeah.
OBS. So, but for me, it works, and I've been enjoying it. I haven't used it for gaming, but then again, making this stuff, making the conversation stuff, is more of what I want to do because there's someone I'm talking to tomorrow. I have 2 people next week, so I've been very very grateful that there are people still wanting I can get to because I still have to grind and get people on, or not get people, but I still have to ask people on because and sometimes people only come on once, and that's fine, that's okay. And some people I'm able to get on multiple times, like Jack Tarlad or another. So it just depends. But one person leads to another person, which leads this whole field, and that's my ultimate thing because you have to imagine if you had like 1 million people, right? Just 1 million people, you could have content for ages,
Yeah.
because there's just so many days and so many people. And for me, it's just like any dono or whatever. Those are bonuses to the whole field of just having a conversation, like with you, because it's been a real interesting learning time because I didn't know you were so smart.
I'm not at all intelligent. No, I'm not. I just the thing is I just look into things. Some things I look into more than others.
Mm,
But the thing is, being talented at everything means you're a talent at nothing, really.
yeah,
You're a master of all trades. You're a master of none.
yeah.
So that's
Someone
the
rather
problem I've got.
Yeah, some would rather be the jack of all trades because if you just know a little bit of everything, you're better off than being. Well, I think some people either like to be a master at one thing or to know a little of everything because you can only know so much, right? It's like you can only know so many people. It's just one of those things. But you keep trudging on, you keep trying to improve yourself to this because I know, like you said, you're just doing your thing to Rumble. But for me, I can't. For me, I can't stick to one platform because it's
No, it's
not.
not.
Yeah, the thing of it is like I've seen what happens to the YouTubers, right? And they get their stuff and whatever. So these platforms. The only thing keeping these platforms still going to some degree is the ISP is not messed with. Once an ISP is able to strike a business, they're done.
Yeah,
And
I
so when you were able to spread yourself out a bit like the quartering does, the quartering has so many different accounts like BitChute and all this stuff. So he's good, but I mean you could have an Alex Jones situation where things coordinate and then they just wipe you off the board. So you're not safe that way either. So but it's sort of like the saying, don't place all your eggs in one basket is basically
Yeah,
what I'm doing. So,
yeah,
but that's just me. No one else has to do that. It's just from my perspective, that seems to make more sense than say one platform, all my stuff is on there, and nothing's gonna happen to that platform, and I'm gonna be okay. Well, that's not how it works.
yeah.
That's not how it works.
Yeah. There's obviously benefits to working on one platform than being on loads.
Mhm.
Then I would kind of say they're kind of 50-50. It's kind of like the
Yeah,
sun and moon type of thing.
yeah.
Um, the world is the world by nature. Yeah, true. Uh, what I'm trying to say is, yeah, like so when I'm talking about Rumble, like so for example, like I said, I'm giving easy names because I know them, not know them
Right.
personally, but know them. But Sneeko is like one, which I'm actually surprised just by the way that it's been going. He didn't originally go to Kick. Now I am surprised by that. That does surprise me, just based on
Hmm.
the type of graphics. Same as Rice Gum, I was actually surprised, but I'm really
Well,
grateful.
They're contracted out. Rumble gave them, I think Rumble gave them millions to come onto the platform because they have a contract with Rumble, so that's probably why.
Yeah, it's not. It's obviously money as well. Yeah, don't get me wrong, but it's just like, it's just that they could gamble and get more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what Kick is basically.
Yeah, I don't see how Kick will last. I actually can't see how it'll last. There's no business model. It just can't. They were profitable, and the reason they were profitable is because they have large. So basically, for example, YouTube loses money because they have loads of accounts which make pointless videos that get 5 views.
Yeah.
You know, and they have to store that video on there for years.
Yeah.
Which is annoying.
Yeah.
But obviously they have to. Whereas like those other sites just have big content creators, and then it's just profitable. Because I look into all the because I've been, like I said, as an investor, you have to look at all the outcomes. You have to no matter what. Now, when you first look into Rumble, the first thing you've got to see is what's the competition doing. So, for example, Twitch isn't profitable, and that's been around for years.
I think they just came out with that recently, talking about how they weren't. I think it was the CEO, right? The CEO said something. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not profitable. The reason being is because, from what I understand, is when you're on Twitch, you get Twitch Prime subscriptions, which means they're essentially paying the streamer themselves.
What do you mean by that? I know what is it, like the payout? No.
So you know Twitch Prime.
Yeah, that's like a thing they get with Amazon, right?
Yeah,
it's like
but Amazon own them, so essentially they're losing money on every subscription. And if you look at the biggest creators, most of them are by Amazon Prime subscriptions. They're not their own money.
Wow, that's interesting.
So if you look at, like, for example, of XQC, I'd say 80%, 60 to 80% of his Prime subscriptions, 40% is only real people actually paying for it.
Interesting. Wow, that's because they're owned by Amazon, so it's kind of like Amazon is just handing the money back to themselves, essentially.
Yeah, I think it's more of a tax write-off. I think that's how they can get away with it. But I mean, like I said, I don't know everything. I mean, that's just based on something I've done, and like that's the assumption I've made. It could be completely wrong. I don't work for Amazon, so I don't know.
Right. Go ahead.
No. Yeah. So looking at that data is already corrupted. And yeah, I mean, there's so many streamers on there with like 1 or 2 viewers, which is perfectly fine. But the cost of running, because essentially they're getting a free service, they are the product. But the problem is, as a product, they're not worth the investment, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's like someone making a bunch of cat videos, and only a few of them are worth the weight in gold, basically, and then the others are just like, well, I guess there's an off balance there. But anyway, before we go any further, so at every hour I give time for the other, for us to promote ourselves, because it's been quite a bit. So go ahead. So first, go ahead and promote yourself, and I'll promote myself.
Yeah. So I'm SammyC, rumble.com/SAMMYC. And I have an X, if you guys follow that, at Samuel W. Cook, which stands for Samuel William Cook. I don't know if that's like a posh name or not. I don't know. But that's it. I mean, I don't really.
Yeah, no, that's I was like, it is a bit posh though, because it's very English. It's very English. So, but but I have YouTube and Rumble, and Discord is the same username. But I have a fan account on Twitter X, and that's at Daramouthe, VERAMOUTHE, and that's one place. Another place as well. But like I said, as I've said in many videos past before, if you want an opportunity, if you want to have an opportunity to do what Sam here is doing, just go to either Discord or the fan account on Twitter X and just kind of message me there, or you can use my email, which is crazer6@protonmail, CRAZZER6@protonmail, and you can go there as well. It's just that I offer this opportunity to almost anyone. I mean, I just met Sam off a Rumble community thing on Twitter X, and it was just I hit off of there. So oh yeah, go ahead. You're fine. You're good. So, but yeah, if you'd like to have the opportunity to come on and have a good conversation like we did, that door is open. So just contact those spaces and we can get started. Like I said, I have someone tomorrow. I have someone Tuesday, and I believe I have someone Thursday. Um, and then, of course, on Friday, I do my Pay It Forward or my PIF streams, which, of course, I saw Sammy on one of those as well. So you have that too. So that was interesting. Yeah, I do that. I have done that for the past 2 or 3 Fridays, and that's sort of my way. Because a while back, Rumble had this Rumble Raid thing with Flawed TV and Chris Plavosky, who's the CEO, and they just it was like $10,000. They went to different streams. They gave like hundreds of bucks. Unfortunately, I don't have $10,000, or I'm not that rich. But since I see the possibility of what Rumble can be and all this stuff, I figure once a week I'll just give a little back, give a like, and then kind of just like some fame time. And sometimes they don't always respond, which is fine. That I'm not too worried about that because it's always been a thing. Like I give a little, a $2 or whatever, and then a like, and then I always find that people follow back, and it's like it's never expected, but it's always a surprise. And again, my thing is like I do these conversation things, and follows, likes, and donos, they're all just the bonus to the more ultimate goal. So it's been pretty awesome. So yeah, yesterday was pretty nice. I just couldn't do it long because of the roundtable. So, but yeah, I was nice able to stop by your stream and see you play the. I don't know what this Dark Horse one is called.
Yeah, so
But
just to clarify, I'm not a daddy. This is just a cup I have. Just to clarify that.
It's just a cup, guys. It's just a
It's
cup.
just a cup. I haven't got
It's
kids,
just a
don't
cup.
worry. Yeah, no. So it's a horror game. It's really good. I had actually some active chat, which actually surprised me, and they
Mm,
really enjoyed it. It was something that it's one of those games where you see all these reviews and you just kind of leave it.
mm,
There's so many games out there that I wish I could play, right? And
yeah.
I don't get the chance to.
Mm,
Um, and it's just amazing when you get to play it, and it's just like you don't know what the story is, you don't know what the ending is, because to be honest, most people ruin it. You know,
mm,
they actually ruined the story, which is such a shame.
yeah.
But
But
this, I mean, it's nothing crazy game. It's just I tell you what, the one thing I love about games is the multiple choice story.
mm,
That, oh, pardon me, that for me is just amazing.
yeah, I'm actually playing the Pacific Drive one right now. So that's been interesting.
Is
But
that a
games,
horror game?
no, it's more like a survival simish sort of thing. It almost can feel like a horror game because there are a few surprises, but it's not really. Um, but but yeah, I've played those games. Of course, there's games like The Witcher Three,
Which
and
is a
then there's
lovely, it's a great
Witcher
game.
3, and then you have the new God of War ones. Those are pretty nice. And that's and the funny thing is that you after listening to that, because I listened to the audiobooks of The Witcher,
Okay,
and I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he voices like
Geralt.
the
Oh no, okay, no, sorry.
I
Oh,
yeah, I don't remember his name, but he voices the male and female. So he sort of does those very uh Cockney-ish sort of is like I Witcher, stuff like that, and you hear that in the games as well. So it's sort of like, geez, man, they really hit that one hard, don't they? But then again, the Witcher games are a bit different because they combine of both English, American voices and English voices. So there's a bit of that because I believe Yennefer has an English actress, while both Geralt and Triss are American actors. But I no, yeah, I don't know if there are any more in there. I can't remember, but I do know that. I think the Vesemir is an English actor though, because I've seen him in other stuff. So
yeah, I mean, there's so many good games out there. I mean, you couldn't name them all in one show anyway. Um, yeah,
hey,
I mean, there's so much. There's so much in this world to do. I mean, forget. The thing is, I really want to do IRL streams in the long
mm,
run. That's just I need to build up a community, you know. I
Yeah.
tell you what, I've never. So in the UK, we don't have guns at all. Right?
Right. Yeah.
There's no guns at all. Right? It's just stabbings and stuff around.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I tell you what, I've never shot a gun. No, that's a lie. I have shot a gun, but I haven't like, and I haven't got an AR-15 or I just want to. I want to
Yeah.
come to America. I definitely want to come to America. Even I am actually really worried about coming to America. I'll be completely honest. Like,
Yeah.
because I don't want because I've seen some videos online, mate. They just turn around and pop you, and that's it. You're gone. There's nothing you can do. Like,
That's the power of a weapon that can take you out instantly. It used to be bows and
uh,
arrows, which would take a while, but guns.
yeah,
Yeah. So it's just very dependent. But I don't know what the rules would be for someone who is from the UK to come over and shoot a gun because I don't know. I mean, it's you're
well, I
because
mean, like a gun range, nothing like,
yeah, no, a gun trade. Yeah, I just don't know what the rules would be allowing you to do that, just because you are coming from a different country and all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure it's not by too troublesome by any means. I just don't know the rules for that.
I do find it weird because the UK really hate people with guns. Like, they just completely despise it. But the thing
Yeah,
is, when you look at the bigger picture, there's stabbings in the UK or there's guns. Now, would you rather be completely in agony? I mean, they could do anything. I mean, you hear all these stories of like 25 stab wounds. I mean, I wouldn't want to go through that. Like, if it was
yeah,
really down to it, I'd rather just be popped. No offense, and then that's it. I mean, I ain't in pain, you know. Whereas
yeah,
that, I mean, I would hate that. I'd hate that so much. I would absolutely hate that.
yeah. And it's kind of a funny thing because again, the rules are. It's a funny thing because of our differences in how our rule books are. Where in America that's allowed. That's what is considered an amendment of the Bill of Rights. But in the UK, it's sort of like the rule how those things can be are a bit different than what we have. So it's
Yeah.
it's kind of surprising because I mean, again, during the World War, you guys would have your weapons to at least for some degree. But nowadays, it just seems like they want to leave you defenseless more.
Yeah, I mean, there's still people that go around with well, I mean, it's like I said, it's Morley knives.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I kind of see the UK point, but that's because I've lived here, I suppose.
yeah,
I mean, it could be completely wrong. I mean, everyone's got their own points to make. So, and
yeah,
in my case, at the minute, there's no need for it. That for me, because I live in the UK, it doesn't. I'm not in it. Like I said, I'm not in London. Like, London is for me. I was kind of like, because I went to London once and I had this really expensive bag. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it's like a Louis Vuitton bag, and everyone's like, "Don't take that to London. You're gonna get." Sorry, my TV come on. You're gonna get stolen. And I was like, "Really?" And I really didn't believe them, but
Right.
luckily it didn't. But like,
Mm.
just like they're like so, I could see why. Um, but yeah, so it's weird. I mean, the cultures are different. There's a
Yeah.
lot. There's a lot to say, really. I mean, Divinity. I mean, a lot of the people I've met from America are lovely. They're lovely people.
Yeah.
Um, I never say a bad word about them.
But yeah, it's all about perspective because obviously you can't deduce a country from just short clips and videos, right? It's all about like we all know that London, the UK, they kind of barred guns and all this stuff, and then you have all the stabbings and whatnot. But I'm sure that's like a chunk of the UK. It's not the total of the UK. Oh, Scotland I think is a bit worse, but that's just because of what I've heard. But again, you can't really deduce upon that matter that that's everyone everywhere. It's sort of just
Yeah,
chunks sporadically in essence. But
yeah,
what do I know?
yeah. I mean, it's weird, and you just have to, yeah, you just got to get on with it, really.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. Like I said, I'm really excited for Rumble. I'm always going to bring it up. So,
yeah,
um, and hopefully one day. I mean, I just want it to happen. I want Chris to copy him one day, even if he just says hello. I mean, it
yeah.
was actually amazing when he popped into the Rumble. Is that every Friday, by the way?
For me, for my thing, yes, every Friday. But for them doing what they did, it was probably just like a once in a blue moon thing because it just hasn't happened again. It's like almost maybe 9 to 10 months ago that it happened. And for me, I just kind of saw that and it's like, well, I mean, I'd like to follow everyone, but it kind of clogs up my feed follow of who I'd like to
Yeah,
follow. So it's kind of a difficulty there. But giving like some sort of cash value and then a like that helps also too. And you can change a lot for someone with $2 like yourself. So
Oh man, I
people
was so
can
happy.
see.
I shared on X, man. I mean,
Yeah,
like I said, I've been paid on other platforms, but to be like 10 days in to streaming on Rumble, you don't. I mean, I didn't even get on Twitch.
yeah,
I mean, that was months ahead. But yeah, it's crazy. Like, there's so
yeah.
much, there's so much opportunity, and
Mm,
like I said, the reason why I said if Chris Pavlovsky or Rick would come on here, because I'd love to see what they think. They don't. You can see what they do, but you don't see
mm,
how they think. Like now, Chris, you can kind of see. You can kind of see where he's going down with the Rumble cloud, you know.
mm,
Um, but you can't see, like, you have to, because the thing is, I like to see how people think, right?
mm.
That's just me. And you can't really get a lot of information based on a few interviews that are
Yeah,
specifically about a certain topic.
yeah. And I mean,
Um,
no, go ahead.
yeah, come on.
No, and that for me, that's like me too. Is like for doing these, I don't, I don't care if you're big or small, but to have the opportunity to talk to, say, someone like Rick or Chris, would just be an opportunity itself just to talk to him because, like you said, there you can't learn a lot from just one or two interviews. To just sit down with them and ask, silly questions, whatever. Because I know the stuff about work stuff is probably one thing that always weighs on my mind. So you kind of get away from that. You kind of ask them like why you get into this stuff or whatever. So I hope one day I can do that with them or anyone really. It's just trying to find people willing to take the leap of faith, like in that scene from Indiana Jones on the what is it, the Holy Grail, I think it was. Where he's just
Yeah,
walking that from the lion's head and he just has to take a leap of faith, basically.
yeah. I think the main thing, another thing, Rumble as well, is the community's not there yet.
Mm.
And that's such a big player because if you're like, I wouldn't say if you're like the main face of it, but if Rumble does take off and you were one of the early users, it's like starting on YouTube. It was a gamble, you know.
Uh,
You
Yeah, there were some early ones like I think Scene Anners on YouTube was one.
There was a video
Uh,
of a lion I remember or something.
yeah,
Um,
then there was Scene Anners, there was Captain Sparkles was a big one. It had become a big one. Markiplier obviously became a big one. PewDiePie, being as he is, became a big one. And so those were sort of the ones I remember being big ones. But yeah, if you start early on Rumble, you can because it's still in its early stages, like you're saying, you can possibly become big down the road. And for me, that's uh, the only reason I would aim for that is so that it would allow people would come to me instead of me have to keep coming to people to come on, sort of that thing. Like you've done enough work after a while, they're just like they're attracted enough to say, hey, I would like to come on. Hey, I'd like to come on, and
I
you
would,
would
I would,
just.
I'd definitely love to come back. I don't. I
Oh no,
when you
you.
said when people don't like they're on once, and it makes it makes one it
There.
doesn't. Yeah,
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
they carry on this. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. No. The thing of it is, like, I understand if they, because there are people I may talk to that they don't like, and there could be that thing as well. Like
do you really get that? Do I bet people really like Petty?
there was one person he follows someone that I had talked to, and he just said because I talked to somebody, he really didn't like what I do or whatever. He didn't find what I talked about pretty, and that's fine. I've invited him on if he wants to come on, but I doubt he will. I don't think it's hate. I think it's just a dislike. I've not had like trollish people or whatever, and I don't care to talk to those people all. I'm not about arguments. I'm not about debates. I'm just here for a conversation, and those are the people I'm willing to talk to. The troll people that just want to destroy whatever, they can just sit in their corner, do their thing. But um, I'm sure I'll run into more of that stuff later on. It's just someone didn't like what I had to say or who I talked with, and that's okay. It's a part of this
I am
growing.
actually really surprised by that. That really surprised me that people are that petty. That they
It's
wouldn't do
not.
it.
Yeah, it's I that I can understand, but at the end of the day, you have to remember people have their own perspectives on the world. People have their own
Uh,
minds, and to force them to agree with you or disagree with you or whatever, I don't care. I am
uh,
enjoying the opportunity this is allowing me. I mean, I right now I have maybe 30 on YouTube, and I don't remember what I have on Rumble right now, but I've grown substantially on Rumble through, of course, networking and osmosis sort of stuff.
You have nearly
Um,
100, by the way. You have 96.
nice, yeah. That I and I'll celebrate when I have 100. But for right now, it's just that's the continuation of that networking feature. The whole thing with the even though I was not on the roundtable, that's also a networking feature, and hopefully I can have some of those. I've had one of them on, but hopefully I can have others on as well. From that, I'm willing to open the door for just about anyone. It's just people have to be willing to take that leap of faith to come on and say, hey, I'd like to come on or whatever. And you said yes. I asked, you said yes, and look at the opportunity it brings. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, yeah, that has really surprised me and the people
Yeah,
about Patu. But I can see your point. I can see the point, like, because I've met paid people before, and if you
yeah,
speak to them, it's like talking to a brick wall. So there's no point even arguing.
yeah, yeah, and
Um,
I'm just not interested. That's for me. Hate there. Anger has a use at a time. There is a time and place for its use, but after a while, it doesn't really have use because it's more of like your whatever that it's since you're Christian, right? It's like that line towards the end of Jonah where God asked Jonah, "Do you do well to be angry?" Right? Yeah, he asked him that. I think it's towards the end where he's after all done with Nineveh or whatever, and just that hit me. That hit me when I read that because I'm like, does it do you well to be angry? Well, if you were to answer honestly, not always. Actually, more than times not really because what does anger do to you? It clouds your judgment. It impairs your ability to at least see things a little clearer. All this stuff it serves again it serves its purpose at a time, but those times are far and few in between. Majority of the time anger is sort of this it's a cloudment a judgment clouder and whatever.
yeah,
But that's just my point of view. That's just from that faith perspective that you talk about. So but
yeah,
but yeah, I may get a little miffed, but then I have to remind myself, at the end of the day, there's probably 2 to 3 other people behind that I'll get to talk to. And funny enough,
yeah,
funny
yeah.
enough.
It's crazy. Yeah, what do you
Yeah.
know? Yeah, I was just gonna say something. I don't actually see it talked about much, and I'm actually surprised. And it was only recently shown to me because I didn't believe it.
Mm,
Um, Now, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, which you might even think I'm like, you might, when I say it to you, you're going to be like, this can't be true.
mm.
Is, have you ever heard of arbitrage betting?
Arbitrage?
Yeah,
Something say it? Arbitrage batting? Okay.
betting.
Oh, betting. Okay,
Yeah,
arbitrage betting. No, it's I don't think so. I know there's betting. There's different forms
yeah,
of
yeah.
betting, but
So essentially, what it is, and
mm,
I mean, I'm amazed. You won't believe me. I didn't even want to tell you.
mm.
Is you can bet on or bet on a game with no risk and come up with a profit.
Interesting. Now, what is that like? Are you talking like the horse, basketball?
So I'll make it simple for the chat to understand because I think the chat would really love this. Right?
Mhm,
Is okay. So let's say you've got an odds. So in America, it's like slightly different. So I don't know how to explain it because you have like 135 points. I don't really understand that.
mhm,
But in the UK, it's done by like decimal. So it's like 1.6. So you get 1.6 times the value. Right? That's essentially
mhm.
what you're making. Right?
Right.
Is so think of it as like so it all comes down to maths because maths is I think the best thing, right?
Mm,
Let's say you flip. Okay, let's say you flipped it. So there's two ways of doing it. There's two ways of doing it. So I'll give
right.
you example one, right? Example one is when you flip a coin, right? What would you say the percentages are on flipping a coin on heads and tails?
50-50 depending on which side you flip.
Yeah. So for example, but regardless, it's most people would say 50-50, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Right? So what happens if you knew that there would be a 55-45 chance? So for example, if you always split on heads or tails,
Shut up.
you would get it.
You're too loud.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry about that.
Quiet. We got everyone quiet down now. We gotta be quiet. God,
yeah,
the guy downstairs says if we're not quiet, he's gonna come up with a bat.
yeah. What would you say though?
About the what about the percentage of the quarter or what? I, I
So let's say you knew that it was going to be 55-45.
hmm. Again, the dependent on that is depending on.
But there's no. It's a definite. I think I might have to leave it here, I'm afraid.
All right. Well, thank you. Well, Sammy, thank you for coming on. All your stuff is in the description below.
Can't
And
believe
you're,
it here. Yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
no, yeah, yours in the Rumble description. Your stuff is in the description below. You're always welcome back anytime, obviously. Although I think you may need to cover your walls or something so you can't be heard. So, but anyway, thank you for coming on, Sammy, and I hope for your success. And again, it's a journey, but you'll eventually get there, just like me. So, anyway, thank you guys for coming. Stuff like this can happen, but that's okay. So, see you next
Yeah.
time, guys.
Thank you
Bye.
so much. Bye.
You're welcome.